As you are all aware, Calgary faced a catastrophic infrastructure failure on June 5th when the Bearspaw South feeder main broke and sent us into a month of repairs, having to reduce usage of water inside our homes and businesses, as well as outdoor water restrictions. We remained in varying stages of restrictions for July and into August as the water team carefully brought up the speed of water flow into that feeder main, monitoring for any potential issues or irregularities. During that time, we provided you with updates on any wire snaps, pump issues, or any concerns related to the pipe or related to the Bearspaw or Glenmore water treatment facilities. We also advised you that as part of that monitoring work, we had partnered with a company called Pure Technologies to send a device called a pipe diver down the entire length of the feeder main in early July. This spans from the west side of the city near Bowness Park to about the area of Hillhurst Sunnyside. The pipe diver scanned the 10.4 kilometers of that pipe from the inside, looking for any problems. This monitoring technology was critical because we needed to accomplish two things. We needed to restore water flow from the Bearspaw water treatment facility to allow your lives to return to normal. And we also needed to know what was going on inside that pipe while water was flowing through it. And the pipe diver was the right tool for that job. This was very much like going for a scoping procedure or an MRI on the advice of a doctor because something feels off. The technology that's used to ensure that you can understand what's going on inside your body. Going in for such a procedure, you don't always know exactly what to expect, but it's important to find out what's happening so that you can plan to address anything that may be of concern. In the event that something concerning does come back from scoping or an MRI, your medical team immediately starts planning for next steps. It's the same rationale for using the pipe diver in the feeder main. We needed to resume regular water flow while monitoring the condition of the pipe so we could plan for anything that might be uncovered. On July 26th, the raw data from the pipe diver was delivered to the water team. And since then, the team has been working with Pure Technologies to run a comprehensive analysis that included interpreting the data, identifying points of weakness, as well as developing repair strategies and contingencies. Today, we're sharing the results of that comprehensive analysis with you. We are able to confirm that much like the hotspots that we uncovered during the original feeder main break in June, there are 16 more sites right now that require attention in the short term. To be clear, the pipe is not facing an immediate break at any of these sites. Rather, there are enough points of weakness or strain in these sections that maintenance work needs to be completed before the end of September. This is not an emergency situation like the one that we faced in June. It is planned maintenance that's based on the results of the pipe diver. These repairs will directly impact some residents and businesses in the communities of Bowness and Montgomery for the duration of the planned work. And General Manager Thompson will be sharing some of those details with you shortly. Importantly, this work will impact all of us in Calgary, Airdrie, Tsuut'ina Nation, Strathmore, and Chestermere, as we will all need to reduce our indoor water usage again. Further, we will also need to return to Stage 4 outdoor water restrictions on August the 26th as the team prepares to shut down the Bearspaw South feeder main. On August 28th, major construction will begin, and it will be carried through 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until completion, which is anticipated for about September 23rd. You also have my word that teams will be working hard to get this work done as safely and as quickly as possible, in close partnership with the private sector, so that the end date remains an estimate at this time. I know this is not the news that any of us wanted to hear. At the same time, I'm grateful that we have this important information that allows us to act in a manner that protects our water system against any potential breaks. To everyone in the Calgary region, particularly the residents and businesses in Bowness and Montgomery, I understand how much this impacts your life, and I know that we are asking a lot from you. Please know that in addition to this repair work, we will also continue to do everything we can to improve the stability and certainty of water service in our city. I'll now ask General Manager Thompson to explain more about the findings of the pipe diver and the planned repair work, as well as provide you with initial information on the cost of repair related to the June feeder main break and the 5 hotspots that we identified back then. GM Thompson.
Good afternoon. As announced by Mayor Gondek, we are here today to share with you some information on urgent short-term repairs required to the Bears Paw South feeder main. After the initial break on June 5th, we conducted a scan of approximately 4.3 kilometers of the pipe. You may recall that we used a robot to inspect this part of the pipe while it was drained. This scan also identified other areas that need to be addressed with the medium and long-term rehabilitation plans, which will go into 2025 likely. Once the original break and hotspot repairs were complete, the feeder main was returned to service, and we used a device called a pipe diver to do an inspection of the entire 10.4 kilometers of the feeder main. This included the 4.3 kilometers that had originally been inspected and the approximately 6 kilometers we hadn't reached before. In late July, we began receiving data from the consultant that conducted the pipe diver inspection. We've been working very hard to analyze this data to learn more about the pipe's condition and what it means to our rehabilitation plans. What we have found is that there are some sections of the pipe that cannot wait for a medium or long-term plan. Urgent repairs are needed to some additional sections of the pipe to address the risk of another unexpected break. We are currently making plans to act quickly on this new set of repairs. They will be taking place between September 26th and will likely be ending on September 23rd, although that is an approximate end date right now. As in June, in order to conduct these urgent repairs, we will need to again shut down the South Bears Paw feeder main and stop the flow of water through it. As this will be a planned shutdown and repair, we will not have a boil water advisory, and we will not have to have water wagons in communities. As in June, this means that during the repair period, we will be relying on the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant to supply most of the water to Calgary, Strathmore, Airdrie, Chestermere, and the Tsuut'ina Nation. We will implement our learnings from the last shutdown to again make changes to our water distribution system to safely flow as much water as we can from the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant, but we know that it will not be enough to meet normal demand. During the repair period, starting on August 26th, we will once again be asking you to make changes to your normal routines to help make sure we have enough water for essential needs. This will include returning to Stage 4 outdoor water restrictions, which do not allow any outdoor water use. It also means that we will be asking residents and businesses to conserve water indoors. Businesses use water in different ways, so we will be asking them to find ways to aim for a 25% reduction in daily water use starting on August 26th and during the period of the closure. Unlike last time, we do not intend to request closure of specific businesses unless it is absolutely necessary. We will not be closing indoor pools either at either hotels or recreation centers, and we will not be closing arenas. There will be more to come in the lead up to this construction. Again, we wanted to get out to you early to allow as much notice as possible so you can plan. We are making plans to address these repairs as fast as we can, again, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to minimize the impact on Calgarians, businesses, and our regional partners. Importantly, I would like to reiterate that these restrictions will not take effect until August 26th. Until then, we will remain in Stage 1 outdoor water restrictions, and you can use water indoors like you normally would. There are a number of factors that have led us to determine that these repairs are urgent. We need to do what we can to lower the risk of another unplanned failure in the feeder main, and new data has shown that there are some areas that are currently at risk. We also need to make the repairs within a specific time frame to ensure we can maintain Calgary's water supply through the winter. This is because of a number of factors. Calgary gets its water from the Bow and Elbow rivers. The Bears Paw Water Treatment Plant gets its water from the Bow River, and the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant gets its water from the Elbow River. In the spring and summer, river flows are higher from rainfall and snowmelt in the mountains. In late fall and winter, we rely on the Glenmore Reservoir to act as our water bank, and we draw it down through the winter as flows on the Elbow River are lower. We need to make sure that there is enough water in the bank to get us through until spring. While the feeder main is out of service, we will get most of our water from the Glenmore Reservoir. We need to act now so that we can get the urgent repairs completed in time for river flows to refill the Glenmore Reservoir for the winter. We also need to minimize the risk of the feeder main breaking unexpectedly in the winter when we would not be able to refill the reservoir because river flows are too low. Our analysis is continuing, and we're going to continue to refine the exact number of repair locations and the exact locations. Currently, we are looking at 16 repair sites, but this number will likely change as we finalize our analysis. While the number is not final, we didn't feel we could wait for all of the specifics to be known before giving you this update today. What we know today is that the majority of the work for the new areas requiring urgent repair is along a section of 33rd Avenue Northwest. There will also likely be a repair required on Parkdale Boulevard, and we will use this shutdown of the feeder main to address some of the medium-term repairs required on 16th Avenue. We understand that there will be impacts to residents and businesses from this work. We are committed to communicating directly with homeowners and businesses in the affected areas, and this will include full clarity on the specific locations through this proactive repair plan. In June, we actually replaced several segments of the feeder main with new pipe. This time we are planning to take a different approach. Currently, we are making plans to address these urgent repairs through the reinforced concrete encasement method. This is the type of repair that we completed earlier this summer when we found the thrust block and we reinforced the existing pipe instead of removing and replacing it. This work includes exposing the pipe through excavation, building an exterior reinforcing steel cage, pouring concrete, and then backfilling the excavation. As we know, until we have exposed the pipe and have a complete view of the area, there's always a potential that things will change. Should we find any issues that we are not expecting, we have contingency plans in place. Teams will be working around the clock to complete this work as safely and efficiently as possible. We have engaged Graham Construction as our general contractor, and we have started the repair planning with them. We previously committed to providing Calgarians the cost of the initial response to this feeder main repair once we had additional information. Because the response is ongoing, we are still receiving invoices from some of our contractors and for certain materials purchased. We are now able to provide an estimate based on work to date. This is specifically the cost for the first phase of the repairs and does not include the costs of the upcoming repairs, which are not yet known. Costs to date for the initial repairs to the feeder main include repair of the initial break, repairing the 5 hotspots, procuring materials for the repairs and replacements, and for contingencies like additional steel pipe, adapters, and exterior reinforcing parts, enhanced operations at the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant to keep our water distribution system stable, and costs to provide other services during the response like non-potable water pickup locations across the city. Based on what we know today, we estimate our cost for the first phase of repairs to be in the range of $20 to $25 million. The cost estimate does not include any lost revenue for city services associated with the break or repairs. We will share more information on the cost estimates of the upcoming repairs as they become available. Obviously, this is not the news that we are hoping to share with you today. Our focus is on ensuring the safety and security of our drinking water system. We are committed to getting the required repairs completed to keep the water flowing safely to you. I want to thank Calgarians, businesses, and our regional partners for your patience and assistance as we work through this situation. We will be providing regular updates as we get closer to the construction start and through the duration of the work. This will include another media availability this Friday and media availabilities next Tuesday and Thursday. If there is urgent news to share in the interim, we will come to you as soon as possible. Thank you, and I'll now turn it over to Chief Administrative Officer David Duckworth.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Mayor Gondek, and good afternoon, everyone. I know these past couple of months have not been easy, as you've adjusted to shifting water restrictions and reduced your water usage to enable our city crews and contractors to make critical repairs along the Bears Paw water feeder main. You have all stepped up in incredible ways for the collective good of our community, and I want to thank you for that. I know the news shared today is not what you wanted to hear. This was a difficult but necessary decision that was made in the best interest of our city and for the Bears Paw water feeder main that supplies 60% of the water to Calgary and to our neighbors in Airdrie, Chestermere, Strathmore, and the Tsuut'ina Nation. We understand that these repairs and water restrictions will inconvenience you, particularly as people are returning from holidays and children are getting ready to return to school. Let me assure you that we have incredibly talented teams who will do their best to minimize this disruption and will work as safely and as quickly as possible to complete the required repairs. Our team, led by General Manager Thompson, will keep you updated leading up to and throughout the repairs so that you understand the process and what will be asked from you. In times like these, it is important that we come together as a community to support each other and work towards a common goal to ensure the long-term integrity of our water system now and into the future. Thank you for your understanding and patience and cooperation. I'll now turn things back to Mayor Gondek.
Thank you very much, David and Michael. Everyone, I know this is a lot of information that we just provided to you. There's a great deal to digest, and that's why I wanted to get this information to you as early as possible. You are now aware that August 26th will be the date that Stage 4 outdoor water restrictions will commence for the repair work to start. On August the 28th, we will see the start of major construction, and we anticipate an end date of about September 23rd, although that is an estimate at this time. As GM Thompson had mentioned, administration is working very closely with businesses and facilities that rely on outdoor water usage to minimize the impact to them this time around. The fact that this repair work is part of planned maintenance puts us in a much better situation than the crisis response that we had to undertake back in June. And because we are planning the shutdown of the feeder main as opposed to an unexpected break, there is no boil water advisory being imposed, and we are already working to fill the underground reservoirs that we have in a variety of communities. We are taking all the actions necessary for us to position the water being available to all homes and businesses as we conduct the repair work. This time, you will have time to make sure you have clean linens, that you have clean clothes and clean dishes, and that you're able to stockpile rainwater for your gardens and your plants through the period of repair and restoration. It is not easy to ask you for another round of repair that is going to require cooperation from you. Delivering this heavy news to you today was not easy. In fact, it was fairly difficult. It is, however, my responsibility to make sure that you have information like this in a timely manner so that you're aware of the maintenance situation that we are facing and the plan that we are using to keep our water network strong. One of our core jobs as a municipal government is to provide you with a safe, secure, and reliable water system. And that's why I have worked with Council to ensure that administration is bringing us realistic budget numbers that reflect the investments that are needed for monitoring, for technology, for repair, as well as upgrades. Council has made a very clear commitment to funding the medium and long-term maintenance work that is needed for our water system. What we are faced with in addressing parts of our critical water infrastructure is frustrating. It's unfortunate and it's incredibly inconvenient, but it is fixable. All the experiences that we have had to date with this feeder main have positioned us to address weaknesses and stress points. And we are sharing our experiences with other cities who have been reaching out to us with grave concern that they might find themselves in the same position of a catastrophic break. I am committed to working with other cities as well as the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to appeal to the federal government for a more consistent and equitable funding model that addresses our growing populations and the infrastructure that we need to provide. I want to thank you all for taking the time to absorb this information, and I know that it has been a great deal to take in. I'll be joining you again for a live stream on Friday morning at 9 a.m., and I will be with the water team on Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. for the full media availability. Until then, please know that I appreciate all of you for banding together earlier this summer through a water crisis. That same gratitude extends to what I know you will do between August 28th and September 23rd to help us get much needed maintenance work done on our water network. Thank you, be well, and take care of each other. And I'll now turn things over to Adam Toy to field questions from the media.
Okay, folks, we'll start with one question, one follow-up, and then subsequent rounds of questions. Any questions to start? Adam Schaefer, Global. Take a stab at it.
You know, of all the scenarios that we were looking at when it comes to that pipe driver analysis, I mean, is this the worst case scenario facing the city at this point to see to have 16 different responses?
I think when we did the pipe diver work, we were prepared for one of three things to happen. One was that everything would come back absolutely clear and we could say everything else is fine. We also thought that maybe the results would come back and say you have got a catastrophic situation around the corner. What we thought would be most likely is to have the situation we're in, where we could identify that there are places that need some strengthening and that there are stress points that need to be addressed in the short term. So I would say we find ourselves in the situation that we were realistically prepared for.
What is the situation with the city's water supply in the Glenmore Reservoir? I mean, we have kind of heat seems to be behind us for the summer. What are we looking at when it comes to ensuring we have enough for spring?
Yeah, so the question was, what's the situation of the water supply in the Glenmore Reservoir? And right now, the Glenmore Reservoir has a good water supply. With the recent rains, it will be filling up as well. And so we're in a good spot right now. That's why we need to conduct this work at the end of August so that we can conduct this work while we have enough water in the Glenmore Reservoir and allow it to refill before the winter comes.
Scott, what's your
The $20 to $25 million estimate that comes from that reserve that's been mentioned, the water utility reserve, correct? Or is that will council have to include that in budget deliberations?
And so the question was about the $20 to $25 million cost estimate for the repairs to date, and that will be coming from the reserve that we have set aside to deal with issues within the water system.
Okay, and follow-up is about accountability. Who is ultimately going to be held accountable for these failures?
I can start and then turn it over to CAO Duckworth, and our focus is on repairing the situation that we see in front of us now. And I'll ask CAO Duckworth to talk about the third-party review that will be underway.
Thank you, Jim Thompson. So I have appointed three business professionals who are Calgarians who are in the process of identifying and selecting a chair of our independent review panel. That work is happening right now. They're in the process of using an executive recruitment firm to select that chair. The chair will then select panel members. They will determine the size and they will determine the scope. We will wait to hear what the recommendations and the results of that review are. We have no doubt that we will find things that we do very well as a utility, and there are opportunities for us to improve and for us to share with other communities across Canada.
The question was about accountability, and we hold ourselves accountable to deliver quality water service to Calgarians, and we take this responsibility very seriously. That's why we have undertaken pipe diver, audio technology as well to understand when there are wire snaps happening. We know that we are responsible to you as Calgarians and as people in the region who trust us to provide you with a safe and reliable water supply. So we hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, we're just wondering why this pipe was in such bad shape to begin with. Like when we inspected it back, I believe in the spring, or I think it was April, did we not know that there was no, like, that there were 16 sites now that need repairs? Like, just wondering how something like this could happen in the first place after inspection was done.
So thanks. The question was, why didn't we know about this earlier? And in the spring, we were preparing to do the inspection that we were going to be doing this fall and winter with the pipe diver. So we'd always been planning to run this inspection tool through this pipe because it was at half of its useful life. And so we were going to do that inspection. We had also installed some acoustic monitoring devices, but we hadn't yet got in to inspect this pipe. When the original feeder main break happened on June the 5th, we used that opportunity to use that robot to go and inspect just over 4 kilometers of the pipe. And then once it was back in service, we were able to use that pipe diver right from the Bears Paw water treatment plant for just over 11 kilometers to inspect the entire length of this pipe. We couldn't reach it at the time of the original repairs because the pipe was in service serving Calgarians with water, and so we couldn't actually get in to do an inspection of that piece of infrastructure. We've got that data back now. We understand the situation and some of the issues we found, and we're building that plan to go and do those repairs.
And just in terms of the repair work that needs to take place, are we going to have to like rip up roads again, detours in place? Just how will residents in the area be impacted? Traffic on, I think it's Highway 16 there, Highway 1 out there.
So the question was, what will the repairs look like to the community? And so we are going to be out detouring traffic, closing roads down, opening roads up, ripping them up to do this excavation work and to do this concrete reinforcement work. So it will be similar to what you saw previously. There are a number of different locations along the length of the pipe, so it will be a bit more spread out. And we're working through all the details right now. Like the mayor had said, the good thing about being a planned response instead of an emergency response is we have time to work with our contractors to implement a different repair process to try and be faster through that repair process and to limit the impact to homes and businesses. But it will be large construction starting on August 28th.
Any other questions?
Okay, thanks so much for your time, folks. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Great detail. It was like maybe 4 minutes. 4 minutes monologue.